We're setting up. I just wanted to let you know I'm here. And I was trying to set up in different locations where the lighting is better, but that wasn't happening. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about ruchi. And ruchi means taste. And the last class we had about this, we were going to talk about ruchi, but we had extensively spoken about nishta. And nishta is the stage in which you become steady. So it's a stage in which you're basically free. You're very much free of anarthas, and free enough that they don't bother you. And because they don't bother you, you become steady. Right? Does that make sense? So steady, partially what steady means is that you don't have trouble following regular principles. That's not going to be a problem for you. In Bhajana Kriya, stage of Bhajana Kriya, in the stage of Bhajana Kriya, there may be, in the stage of Bhajana Kriya, there may be some challenge in following regular principles. But in the stage of ruchi, the stage of nistha, it's not really a problem. And therefore nishta means steady. And you become steady when you don't have obstacles. Obstacles are what makes you unsteady. We have a visitor here. So obstacles deviate you, and because they deviate you, it's called unsteady. Anything that can deviate you makes you unsteady, and therefore that stage is called anartha nivritti, which means it's an unsteady stage in which you're trying to become free of anarthas in order to become steady. So after anartha nivritti, nivritti means ending, then what happens? Such a bad background here. The background of my bed and clothes. Yeah, it's the best I can do. I was going to do it outside, but can't plug in my recorder outside. The lighting outside's very good. I have a nice background. Anyway, we're sitting here now, so we'll continue. What makes you unsteady is unwanted desires, obviously. You're trying to go to Krishna, and then you get a desire to do something else. That desire is called anartha. It's not necessary. It's unwanted. And so it pulls you away from Krishna. Anything that pulls you away from Krishna is anartha, right? Unwanted, unnecessary, unneeded. And when you don't have anarthas, or the anarthas, if you have them but they have no potency, then they don't pull you away, right? You understand? Sometimes we have anarthas that we discussed before, but they don't pull you away because they don't have any shakti to pull you away. They're deflated. But when they're strong, then they tend to pull you. So that's the stage where you require a lot of determination. So when you get rid of anarthas that are pulling you away, or you subdue the power, the power of those anarthas has been reduced significantly so that they won't pull you away, then it's called, what's it called? It's called nishta, right? Because Nishta means steady. And you can't, the only way you can be steady before the stage of Nishta is, how are you going to be steady before the stage of Nishta? Through your determination. Then you'll be steady. But when you come to the stage of Nishta, it's natural. Before that, your steadiness is going to be brought about by your own determination and your ability to tolerate the pushings and pulling of the senses. But as you come to Nishta, there's less tolerance and there's more. There's the beginning of taste starts to come, but there's less tolerance because there's less to tolerate. You have to have something to tolerate. Just like the weather gets hot, and then someone might say, "Oh, you're very tolerant." Then you say, "No, I'm not tolerant. The weather doesn't bother me. I like warm weather." So it's something like that. Yeah. So I have this artificial lighting. Anyway, so um, hmm, yeah.
So, are these progressive in that once you move up to, say, from Anartha-nivritti to Nishta, you don't come back down? Or
You always, if you continue your devotional service, you don't. If you stop, then it's not. What's happening is you've risen above the modes of nature, but if you fall back into the modes of nature by stopping your sadhana, then again, you're not. If you give up devotional service, you're not even on the stage of bhajan or kriya. So you can fall down from that stage, but the idea is that as you continue your devotional service, you would naturally progress, and there are stages you progress through within each stage. And it's not as fast as you'd like it to be, but as we talked about last night. But you see, the thing is, Lord Chaitanya's mercy is very powerful. But when you take that mercy away, then you come back to where you were before. So the mercy is, it's kind of like, how should we say it? It's like the effects of our conditioning are not going to deter us because the mercy overpowers that. But without that mercy, then that conditioning again overtakes us and we come under the control of the mind and senses. And those desires start rising. They're not, like, you can say the seeds are there. Maybe we've trimmed them down, so there's no fruits. But if we don't continue the process, then the fruits can come back. Otherwise, nobody would fall away from Krishna consciousness, right?
the reason I asked is I heard in one lecture that with the three stages of chanting, where you've got Nama, Parad, Namabas, and Shuddhanam, the point where you reach Namabas, you never actually return to Nama Parad. Again, I don't know if the same uh, situation applies where if you stop chanting, then of course you're not even at the Nama Parad
I
stage.
know, I would have to see the reference, because as I was saying last night in Jaiva Dharma, explains you started Namabhas, and then by committing offenses you go down to Namaparad. I think there's a general assumption that most of us are chanting Namaparad when we're not. Because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said that Namabhas is simply the effort to commit, not to commit Nam Aparad. So if you're making the effort to not to commit Nam Aparad, even if you can't perfectly, even if you're not perfectly doing it, but you're making the effort as best you can. That's namabhasa. So if we use that analogy, then if you stop making the effort, you come into namaparad. Same way in devotional service, if you stop making the effort, you'll fall down. And that was, if you read Prabhupada's letters, it's basically how he describes sadhana. That it's a regulated practice. Something I would see it something like a doctor's prescription. As long as you follow this, you'll be healthy. But if you don't, then you're going to relapse. And Prabhupada said that. He said if we leave association, we'll go back to our former position. He said that many times. But in spite of that, we've seen that people will go back to their former position or somewhere closer to their former position, depending on how much Krishna consciousness they keep with them. If they keep nothing, they'll tend to go all the way back. And then the thought comes, well, didn't anything happen? But it did happen, but now the effects are kind of frozen. And then when they come back to Krishna consciousness, you'll see that wherever they left, they'll get right back into it, they'll take it up. So, and Prabhupada explained that in when you make an offense, then the effect of that offense will freeze your advancement. But when you overcome that offense, then you'll begin devotional service from where you left off. Because it's never it's never finished. It's always there. But sometimes we don't feel the effects of it. Especially when you become slack or give up devotional service, you tend to go back to where you were, and then you question, well, did I make any advancement? And the answer is you did make advancement, but still the conditioning is so strong that because we haven't purified ourselves entirely from those modes of nature, what's actually happening is by engaging in devotional service, you're becoming purified, but not purified enough that you wouldn't fall back down yet. You're not on that stage where you wouldn't fall back. That's a higher stage.
So above the stage of nishta and above.
If you're falling from the stage of, generally if you fall, you won't fall completely away unless you commit aparad or do something really stupid. Like totally, lose yourself and become a Radhakund Babaji and get 3 wives and think, you're advanced, some crazy thing like that, which is not common. A common thing is to completely give up devotional service, usually due to an offense. So if you give up devotional service due to an offense, then usually everything stops there. But as I said, you can activate it again by taking it up. If you come to a higher level, generally you won't fall down, although you could. The higher you go, the less likely you'll fall, usually, unless you commit aparad. But if you're not committing aparad, and it's unlikely when